Hi, CK. Good evening and
Hi.
welcome back.
Yeah, it's nice to be back after a short break. I think yes.
Yes, yes. I hope our visitors and our viewers have missed just a tiny bit. Okay, so today's topic is another interesting topic. The topic is about the impact of learning and unlearning for an entrepreneur. Now, what's interesting in this is that in the last 2, 3 years, the entire world has changed the way that they buy and sell. I was reading this article about how the consumer behavior has completely changed in many of the industries. And because of that, the way the business is conducted, the way the business reaches and sells to these consumers have also changed. So this is where we realize that there is a lot of unlearning that an entrepreneur has to go through, as much as there is a lot of learning, new learning that an entrepreneur has to incorporate into his life or her life. So today's topic is focusing on both the learning and the unlearning part. Now, let me start with the unlearning, and I'm going to share one of the case studies of a business that I'm coaching right now. Now, this business was in the space of providing their services on an offline model before the pandemic hit them. Now, as soon as the pandemic hit them, they were able to quickly learn and adapt and transition their delivery from an offline to an online model. Amazing, and kudos to them. But here's the interesting thing. While they were able to learn and transition onto an online model for their delivery, their sales continued to follow the old traditional offline model of cold calling and sending out an email and convincing the customers to buy their products and services. Now, what's interesting is that they did not unlearn their traditional offline learn sales part of it. And that kind of cost them because their competitors were able to quickly ramp up on their sales and they started creating an online presence where they could sell their services online, accept digital payments with or without the assistance of a physical person helping them over the phone or a chat. Now, that's example I would love to bring to the notice of all our viewers about how, without being conscious about it, there is some amount of unlearning that we forget about, and we continue bringing that, so which is impacting the current business. So now, CK, would you want to talk about some of the other areas where our entrepreneur can focus upon in terms of the learning, maybe this time?
Like I've said before, I guess the pandemic has taught us one thing, that what worked in the past will not work in the present. What works in the present will not work in the future, right? And I think that's a universal thing that applies to all, right? A lot of successful businesses struggled the last 2 years. Some of them managed to survive. Some of them managed to do well. And
Yes.
the ones that did well are the ones who quickly adapted, unlearned, and relearned very fast, right? That okay, if this is not working, let's look at the alternate way of covering the market, or let's look at our alternate product strategy, or let's look at how we can reach out differently, how we can do digital marketing differently, how we can do online differently. So I think the unlearning and learning have to go side by side, and it has to be a very quick process, right? No
Okay.
organization has got the luxury of time. Okay, let's figure out what we need to do over the next 6 months. By then you've lost, because some other competitor would have moved fast, like you mentioned, right?
Hmm.
So I think the importance of learning, and as an entrepreneur, if you do not keep learning, you stop growing, right? Because the more you expose yourself to what's happening in the market, what's happening in the industry, being part of industry body meetings, or uh, being part of various webinars and various programs where you absorb a lot of input from different experts. It's good and bad because you absorb. Sometimes people attend so many webinars that we call it death by webinar. That you absorb so much and you make so much of notes, and then you go back to your office and there's nobody in the office to actually implement it.
Correct.
And so the point we keep on stressing on learning is to pick up learning which is practical and learning which can be executed.
Mhm.
Like if your organization does not have the capability of executing it, there's no point keeping on learning. It only remains theoretical knowledge. Right?
Absolutely.
So in the aspect of learning, there are so many finer aspects which are so critical for business. Right? Simple things like networking. Right? We spoke about networking in some earlier videos that most solo entrepreneurs thrive on business that comes through referrals and word of mouth. Right? And some of them are natural adapted networking, some of them are not natural, right? Now, if you do not project yourself, if you do not clearly demonstrate what your products or services are, if you do not educate the market through marketing efforts in terms of how you're different from competition, what makes you unique, right? A lot of the entrepreneurs are so passionate about the product or technology, but not so great in terms of marketing it
Correct.
in forums, in public forums, right? And that's a very critical skill to achieve. There are ways of picking up those skills from experts in that area. Digital marketing, social media marketing is an area where many entrepreneurs are not experts. You need to learn from experts, right? How to structure the organization for growth, right? Requires a lot of relooking at the whole business model itself, relooking at the business plan itself. That again is an area where a lot of entrepreneurs have not really done it in the kind of detail that they need to do it. And there are experts who can actually guide on that. So I think the important thing is learning is such a large subject, right? But as a business owner or a founder or a co-founder, I think the important thing is to decide that, look, these are the 2 or 3 areas which I think I'm not doing a great job, or my team is not doing a great job. I need to really quickly acquire that knowledge and skill set so that we can move to the next level quickly. Right? So I think a lot of the learning is about prioritizing 2 or 3 things which you need to focus on in the next 3 to 6 months.
Mhm.
My personal recommendation is don't pick up too much and do nothing. Right? There are a lot of practical, there are a lot of theoretical classes, there are a lot of colleges which do programs for entrepreneurs. All very nice. I think one should definitely look at that also. I'm not saying that's not good or not. This is good. But the important thing is to be able to come back and translate that theoretical knowledge into practical actions, which are going to be demonstrable and give results. Right? If you don't have somebody to guide you in that process, then don't take it on.
Correct.
I just want to build on the unlearning part. Just other day, yesterday, I was talking to one of my clients, and they are now already starting the work on their business plan for next year, and they've already beginning to now hire some very senior people, and for heading the different departments and divisions. And I had only one word of advice to them: when these senior people come into the organization, right, your old style of management will not work. The traditional, I am the founder, so I will take all the decisions. I will, get involved in every small thing. I will micromanage. I will want to get a daily report. I will not know what's happening on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis. Will not work with these senior guys, right? So again, for somebody who's been used to leading teams in a particular way for years on end, just that changing the style itself is an unlearning process. So they were asking me, so what should we do differently? So I think that openness to change, whether it's for unlearning or learning, I think it's a critical element for most entrepreneurs. Don't be stuck in the old way of doing things. Yeah, that's it, Neetu.
Great. Thank you so much. A little thing point that I would like to add over there is especially for founder-led organization where the founder is the biggest resource for the organization. So his or her learning will have a direct impact on the business growth. It's important that the business owner consciously invests on his or her own learning. Maybe even put a certain budget aside, budget and time aside for investing in that learning and unlearning, so that it actually measured on the way it will impact your own business, either in terms of improving productivity, improving your revenues. There's so many different classes of it. And wrapping it up with what CK was talking about is including the about the business planning. Now that's a whole new topic. There's a lot of learning that one needs to have on how to do your business planning, and maybe we should be covering that as a separate topic altogether. CK, what do you think about that?
Yeah, in fact, I think this is the right time to do it. In fact, a lot of the organizations which we are working with already in December, they've already started the planning process for the next financial year, because business planning is not a small thing. It's not just about one Excel sheet, right? It's not just about jumping from 5 crores to 8 crores or 10
Mm.
crores to 15 crores. It's much more than that, right? And I think we have to really dive deep into that. And I'd much rather we do it as a separate session.
With that, I look forward to meeting all of you once again next week with the topic on business planning. Thank you.